Hello everyone, I'm Brian Dragon and welcome to Vox Adventures. So what should we talk about? Well, I've been translating a Belgian comic into English. Uh, just for the sake of it, doing it for the art, and for being able to understand what I'm reading beyond just looking at the pictures. Of course, even then, I can get a bit of an understanding, but knowing what they are saying really helps. I mean, after all, I was French exempt. Hey, Kitten. Hey, Alex. So, if you're wondering what it is, the series is Papyrus, and the album I'm specifically translating is The Labyrinth. You stay where you are. How many pages do I have translated so far? Pretty sure 8, I think. I might be... No, definitely 8. Or 9. 8 or 9. That's the extent of my knowledge. And there's 44 chapters. I mean pages, I think. Chapters, what the hell? Yes, Alex, hello. So that probably just leaves you wondering, what have I got so far? But what have I learned so far? Well, as someone who has the first season of the animated series on DVD, I've learned that Melos, the Cretan prince, was actually killed by Apis. You know, the sacred bowl of Egypt? Oh, it's nothing like his counterpart in Hellenic mythology. He just was on a rampage or anything. Melos just jumped into Apis' enclosure to pay homage to him. Even saying a prince of Crete does not fear the bull god, or something along those lines. Yeah, well, as I said, he ends up dead because of it, so there you go. That's what foolish pride gets you. Gets you trampled to death by a bull. I mean, yes, it does sound dark, and this is indeed something for kids, but well, it's not that dark. I mean, you don't seem gored to death or anything. What the hell? I've been using Google Translate to and another online translator for when Google Translate doesn't give a satisfactory translation. I mean, I basically learned that the French word for chariot is the same as the word for tank, char. And I can't for the life of me understand why Google wouldn't translate correctly translate a name as it is and as it's written in the English speaking world. Hey. Called Adomni in the French speaking world, we call him Indomnius. Here in the English speaking world. Well, technically the character is Minos Indomnius. Not that I recall Minos ever having a secondary name. I mean, he did have a descendant named Adomius, so... No, wait. Still doesn't make sense. Yes, Alex, please, lay down on my hand. The hand that I am using to jump and move the mouse pad. I mean, yeah, it really doesn't make sense. Minos and Endomius were two different Cretan kings. Okay. And I learned of the early installment weirdness of the pharaoh being called Merenre in early volumes, only to be in early albums, only to suddenly be called Meren Ptah, meaning he's supposed to be Merneptah, the 13th son and immediate successor of Ramses the Great. But what do you think I find? I find a panel where he's referred to as Merenre Meren Ptah. There were two pharaohs named Merenre. There was a pharaoh named Meren Ptah, more commonly called Merneptah, but there was never a pharaoh named Meren Ptah, so I don't know, I guess Lucien the Gator was trying to not make it seem like so much of a setting change from the 6th century to the 6th century, what the hell, from the 6th dynasty to the 19th dynasty. Because the Merenres were 6th dynasty pharaohs, while Merneptah was 19th dynasty. And yeah, the animated series just calls the pharaoh Merenre, never mind the fact that you've got plenty of New Kingdom stuff there, like Akhenaten's legacy. You got Abusim, the great temple of Abusimbel, which Ramses built for him and his wife, his first great warrior wife, Nefertari. So I don't know. I really think going from just calling him Meren Ptah would have made more sense. I have some of the English translations of Papyrus, and I have 5 out of 6, and due to Cinebook having not gone any further, I pretty much took the translation upon myself to know what's going on. And the album Tutankhamun the Assassinated Pharaoh, geez, has at last not aged great, that name, considering we know that he wasn't assassinated. Oh, jeez. So yeah, as I was saying, Ramses the Great is identified as the pharaoh's father, so obviously he's meant to be Merneptah, Merenptah, whichever you prefer. I go by Merneptah because that's what most people use. What the hell? Oh, God's sake. I mean, pretty sure Landmaid series was made in 1998. I'm pretty sure Tutankhamun was the album was written in '94. Okay, and in regards to the animated series, for the Labyrinth episode, Minos is just called Minos. No Minos Indominus or Idomni or anything like that. It's not from an I've seen. I don't watch the French version on the DVDs. I watch the English version. I've seen no implication that for the original album that the Minotaur is the god that the Cretans worship. I've not even heard anything like that archaeologically, and that it was like that the Metapleet. I've never heard anything about that archaeologically. Like, never heard a story that the tale of Theseus and the Minotaur was meant to be like an Athenian hero conquering like Cretan god or anything like that. I mean, maybe. Keep in mind, I'm not far along with my translation. I mean, besides that, the architecture, the costuming, everything is beautifully reconstructed for both the comic book series and the animated series. I love animation. I love ancient Egyptian settings. So nice to see one that doesn't involve an adaptation of the Exodus story. Because my god, there's so much of them. I mean, yeah, I enjoy the story, but most stories I'm coming across set during ancient Egypt either are an adaptation of the Exodus, or they are just set during the time of Cleopatra. And that's gotten me to thinking. Yes, it's gotten me to thinking. Why not write a story set during Persian Egypt? The first Persian Egypt, because there were two periods of Persian Egypt. They conquered it, they lost it, they conquered it again. Then Alexandros III of Macedon, whom is more commonly called Alexander the Great, conquered the Persian Empire, and then the Hellenic period began for Egypt. I'm thinking maybe set it during the time of Darius the Great. I'd really like a story like that. As far as I'm concerned, the last ancient Egypt ended with the last Roman pharaoh, and the last pharaoh period, Maximian Dia, who died in 313 AD, not BCE, the Common Era. Yeah, that's basically the way I view it. Ancient Egypt ended with the pharaohs. The Egyptian clergy and everyone else saw Augustus and his successors as legitimate successors of Cleopatra and Caesarion, so they were called the pharaohs. And it continued that way for quite a while. Now, when I say a story is set during ancient Egypt, I mean the whole way through. Including the. I'm not including the Mummy franchise in that because it's not entirely set in ancient Egypt. The Egyptian, which is an adaptation of the Mika Walteri novel, obviously is set during the 18th dynasty and does not involve an adaptation of the Exodus, thank goodness. How is that movie? It's alright. A lot of sets, props, and the like were reused in the Ten Commandments. That would be the 1956 film. And given that is set during the 19th dynasty, it well, I don't know. Combined with the reusing of sets and all that, it just makes it seem like an unintended sequel. And I suppose you could say it is. Even some of the same actors appeared. I mean, most notably would perhaps have to be John Carradine, who I believe played a grave robber in The Egyptian. And of course he played Aaron in Aaron, whichever pronunciation you prefer. I mean, it's pronounced Aaron in the Ten Commandments, but there's two different pronunciations apparently. He played Aaron in the Ten Commandments. Do I recommend The Egyptian? Oh, I don't know, it can be pretty cynical at times. But if you want to watch it, go ahead, I'm sure you can find it. Well, that's all for today, everyone. I'm Brian Croydragon signing out. Stay straight.